James Steinville, TVU Edmonton, with Pastor Joe Newman, Senior Pastor of Capital City Baptist, right here in Edmonton. How you doing, sir?
Doing good, doing good.
Good to see you. It's been almost a year. I think that you were pretty well one of the stay with it churches all the way through COVID. How'd that work for you?
It worked really well. We probably had 6 or 8 weeks where we were just live streaming. But ever since then, we've been able to continue meeting.
That's good. That's good. And you guys have got very apt at streaming. Your technology and what you're doing it's leaps ahead from this time last year. How was that
Yes.
process?
You know, it was crazy. I was never really in favor of all that because just of the privacy side of it and all that. But of course, COVID launched us all into the future, and it became a necessity. And so, the first few weeks were pretty clunky. We had some real issues the first few weeks, but I was blessed with a couple people that were very savvy, and they helped me get the right equipment, and they really ran it for me. So I was really blessed. They really helped us get up to speed very quickly.
It's good. It's good. So you're running both Sunday services and your Wednesday service. You're streaming live onto YouTube.
That's correct.
It's exciting. You had a couple schedule changes, but you're pretty well regular now, like in terms of your timings.
Yes.
So that must relate to location. How's that going?
Yes. The building that we're using for now, we're able to maintain our original times, which are 11 on Sunday morning and 7 on Sunday evening and 7 on Wednesday night. That facility right now, we're the only ones in there. So we have, no hindrance whatsoever. But they have a couple other groups that when they start meeting again, that's when it sort of bumps us around a little bit. And then we've had to switch on back earlier. We had to switch to a 1 o'clock service in the afternoon. So we're just glad for now we can hold it at 11. We're hoping that will continue for an indefinite period.
So you're planning for the year. You have your brother Logan conference every year, and what's looking like that? What's up for? Is this going to be Zoom now? Are you going to start bringing speakers, in via Zoom, or are you going to, wait to see if you can be live on location? What are you doing?
Right now, we're still sort of trying to figure out what we're doing there because with all the travel restrictions, it's gotten very difficult. To have somebody in is almost impossible because of the quarantine and all that stuff. We have entertained the idea of having a meeting and having some local guys, meaning Canadian guys, and we've got some guys that are very capable. We've always had Brother Logan in just because our people know him and he is such a blessing and he's very familiar to us. But we have toyed with the idea of having some guys in from a couple of the other provinces, and that way we can still have a special meeting and still have it live. So that's sort of what we're looking at the moment. No definite plan as far as a date, but we are definitely considering that option, and we really want to do something in the near future. In the past, we've always had 1 or 2 special meetings a year.
No, and the Brother Logan meetings are very powerful and very
Yes.
significant, and memorable in a way that you're not expecting, because in the moment, you're bringing in as much as you can, right? But during the year, they're beautiful times, right? They're I recommend them. So, you are the Independent Baptist way of doing ministry grows and encourages, welcomes traveling ministry. And watching you on YouTube, you're not insisting, you're not cracking the whip, but you're calling people forward into ministry. What's happening?
The thing we're seeing right now in the last few months, we have had several people that have very definitely, deliberately put their trust in Jesus Christ. That is our first and foremost agenda. The Lord said, "Go ye into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature." And of course, the gospel is the death, the burial, the resurrection, and the thought is, the Lord paid the sin debt for the whole world, but they got to reach out and take it. The gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ. And so there's a lot of people that are religious or non-religious or whatever, and they come across our services, and especially our Sunday morning services are very much geared to get people the message that the only way to heaven is Jesus Christ, and he wants you to go with him, but you got to say yes. And so in the past few months, we've had several people that have made a very definite decision to follow Jesus Christ, to put their trust in him. And we've got a baptismal service coming up. And of course, baptism doesn't wash sin away or anything else. But what it does is it's just a testimony to the world that, yes, we have made that decision. We're going to follow Jesus Christ. So we're excited. It's really been a good time. Everybody wondered what was going to happen coming into COVID. A lot of churches have lost ground for various reasons. But for some reason, God in his goodness has blessed. I remember as we entered into COVID, one of our guys prayed. We periodically have a men's meeting, and one of the guys prayed, and he said, "Lord, let us gain people and not lose them in the midst of all this." And truly, that is what has occurred. Slowly but surely, we have seen people come, and we've seen some people really turn to the Lord. So it's really been a blessing.
That's powerful. And that's the core ministry of Capital City Baptist Church, and that's your core ministry, to teach people into that decision. There's no question. You're powerful connection with the Spirit and with God, and people are accepting that, and they're entering into the kingdom. That's glorious news. But the people that are there, that are being called forth, the Spirit speaking to them to speak into ministry, you're speaking that too.
Yes.
That. What's happening there?
We've been going through books of the Bible on Sunday night and Wednesday night. And, what we really try to do is build up the believers. We try to, as Paul mentioned in Acts 20, we try to give them the whole counsel of God. And so, that's a slow, steady process. And the best way to do that is to go through books of the Bible, because what that does is, as a pastor, it forces you out of your comfort zone, and it forces you to preach on subjects that you normally wouldn't. Every preacher left to himself, as good as he may be, tends to have his favorite topics, and he'll tend to run in those same rails no matter where he looks. But if you're preaching through a book of the Bible, you're covering all sorts of stuff. So with our people, we're trying to help them. We're trying to, their lives are built around their families. This world we're living in has a lot of real challenges to it. So we're trying to help them. A lot of people have private battles that in any church, and they're coming and they're looking for help. And then on top of that, we do have one or two of our guys that feel like God has called them to preach. And so we are trying to prepare them as well, both in the church services and out of the church services. We meet with them, we talk to them, and we're trying to put some tools in their hands that will help them when that day comes and God puts them out on their own, that they're ready for the challenges that they're going to face.
that's that's such good news, because that's what it's all about, right? Is to be be born again, be a believer, be um, set free of the things that people need to be set free, and to walk in the blessing of kingdom life, and to be connected to, to a good church.
Mm.
These are basics.
Yes.
But then to step out into ministry, that's that's where you come alive, really, as
Mm.
a believer.
Yes.
And the Independent Baptist community, and then and fostering new preaching work. But there's all sorts of work that come through. I've sat with you and the church, and seen other many beautiful ministries come through. But that's good. That's powerful. To have pastors, in baby form, in a way, not baby form, they're adults, but
Sure.
it's very exciting. But that's also that lends to the next question, kind of the final question, because I said I'd get you out of here before lunch. Talking about going through the books of the Bible. I was going to come at it a little different way, but now that I'm seeing you here today, I think that, well, let me come a different direction from it. I've noticed a shift, not a doctrinal shift, because you're on doctrine, but a shift to transformation, and having there's this one, just because you reached out and came, if I had been a little more prepared, I could actually go to the exact preaching days. But you actually I can't remember the exact words, but how it came across. You just put your hands in the pulpit and you just said, you have to be soft on the inside, and be able to be taught and learn and grow, right? And so I was going to come into that point, but seeing you today, I think you're in that spot too. The books of the Bible are transforming you. There's a lot different, deeper presence to you today. So this is you're bringing your people through it as much as you want to share, right? But what is this journey through the books of the Bible, this transformational kind of experience, for you, and then what you're noticing in the church?
For me, I think what's happening for me is it's forced me to not be so superficial when I look at a chapter or whatever. And not that I was ever superficial on purpose, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
It's forced me to look at things in context, and to really look at exactly what it's saying. For example, we've been going through the book of Colossians on Sunday evenings, and a few Sundays ago we hit in chapter 1 there. Paul talks about his prayer for the believers at Colossae and Laodicea, and one of the things that leaped out at me is his prayer is nothing like what we would pray. We tend to pray about all the problems and the negative things, and that's needful. But when I looked at his prayer for them, he didn't mention anything negative. He prayed 3 or 4 basic things: that they would be, filled with the knowledge of his will, that they would be strengthened, that they would give thanks. And it dawned on me that the things he was praying for, if that really occurred in somebody's life, it would actually fix all the other problems.
Mm-hmm.
And so it actually it sort of changed the whole way I viewed praying for other people. Yes, we still pray about their problems and their issues and all that, but I realized, for me personally, I was missing that whole aspect of that, and I there again, I've been saved over 30 years and I've never seen that. So that's helped me. So as I go through these passages, it's helping me, but it's doing the same for my people. One of the guys came up to me and he told me the week after, he said, this week He said, it's totally changed the way I've been praying for other people. And that's what you want to hear. And you don't fish for those things, but all of a sudden you just hear little pieces and snippets of how it's changing our people and the way they think and the way they interact with the Lord. And then you realize, the Lord is doing something. And so the Lord blesses his word, and he blesses when you really try to be fair to his word. Spurgeon said long ago, he said, I don't know anything about real effectiveness in ministering without some real labor in the preparation. And as a pastor, it's always a temptation. You can throw a message together, you can just lightly fluff over something. But boy, when you really take a hard look at what it's saying, and you really want to give the people something from the Lord, it makes all the difference in the world.
That's so good. That's so good. We've had Pastor Joe Newman, pastor of Capital City Baptist Church, here with us. Me, James Steinwell, on TVU. That's good. Sorry, how do they get a hold of you, Pastor?
They could reach me a couple different ways. Of course, I have an email address. It's joemitzi7@gmail.com. They could reach us that way, and they could reach me at my phone number, which is 780-934-2176.